keeping in mind that the Crimean Tatar Muslims, they have a rich history and cultural heritage. The Crimean Peninsula has a lineage that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, with history of culture and languages and nationalities coming together, from Scythians, from the Goths, from the Taurians, from the Mongols, from the Seljuks, the Huns, the Bulgars, the Italians, and the Alans and others. There is a unique symbiosis of cultures, races, and nationalities. And about 4 centuries of independence until the Russian occupation in 1783. And then the Bolshevik revolution targeted the Crimean Tatars, and they were expelled systematically. Almost 50% or more of them were taken off, and then the Russian authoritarianism did the same. There was a brief respite when the Russian regime fell and there was resettlement, and then 2014, the Crimean annexation by Russia destroyed them once again. The 2022 war consolidated that, and Muslims there are systematically targeted. Architecture of history being destroyed, mosques are destroyed, even cemeteries, tombstones, so that there is no record of the Muslim Crimean Tatar presence. And activists jailed, kidnapped, all of that we see happening. So that backdrop I want us to keep in mind. And this interfaith delegation that we undertook, we returned, alhamdulillah, safely. But we went there with leading humanitarians, human rights executives, war crimes experts, trauma physicians, and then faith leaders. We stayed in Ukraine's capital, Kiev. And yes, we had prepared to take on some risk. But I have never had that opportunity of being in a war zone. You go into Kiev, you have to go take a train journey of 12, 14, 15 hours. You're stopped at borders, guards come in, check out your passport, and you are scared about what is going to happen. You go through that, then you get into Kiev, and you have to download an app that is linked to the missile siren alerts. When the sirens go on, the app wakes you. People are used to that, but for us it was an experience to understand what the people there go through. We stayed right in the heart, closer to the presidential palace, using the use of U.S. Patriot systems that protect against missiles. But it's an odd, scary experience when you wake up at night by sirens, and you all have every hotel has a bunker. You go down to the bunker, you don't know what is going to happen. And after 2-3 nights of this, we thought, okay, these are protected. And then one night we heard bombs all over. We didn't know what was happening. Next morning we were told that the PepsiCo plant around was completely destroyed because nothing is fail-safe. The missiles still get through. I bring that up because those are the conditions in the safest place, perhaps one of the safest places on earth, based on the fortifications in war zones there. But the people there are living. They are fighting. And what we were struck by was the amazing resiliency everywhere we went, despite all of this going on. And as you know, on one of the nights as the bomb attacks took place, we moved the curtains of the hotel room, and it's an amazing sight to see these anti-aircraft carriers driving right in front of you and going through. And the streets are desolate. You don't know what is going to happen. So these people live with that, and we stayed there facing those conditions. We met with some top Ukrainian government and faith leaders, including the first Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, who happens to be a Crimean Tatar Muslim, Amina Zafarova. We met with members of parliament, heads of churches, mosques, and communities. And brothers and sisters, as I told you about the Bucha massacre, we went and visited these cities. And it shakes you to your core. When you see, as the Russian forces, advance toward Kiev, indiscriminate bombing of civilian apartments. Just no reason for it. Just to intimidate the community. Bombs shattered apartment buildings, they are kept there. And the hardest part is when you see and when you hear about these basement rooms which were used as torture rooms, as basis for rape, mutilation, torture, all of that going on without accountability. And yet, these people are standing together, firm in the belief that they all say, this is our homeland. We are going to fight for our freedom. And everywhere we went, they were thankful to us. When we said we are from here and that we express our support, they are very thankful, they say, because of the United States, that we are still alive and thriving. And they say, please continue your support as you go back. There is so much to be talked about, brothers and sisters, but a few of these inspiring moments that I want to share, because this journey, the word that I've been using for me and my wife is transformative. It changes you. When you go through that experience of a war zone, missiles, and then when you see these people who have lost their families, generations, everyone knew, not just somebody who had died, but somebody who's on the battlefront, somebody who has been, astaghfirullah, raped, tortured, mutilated, and yet they are focused, saying, we will continue this fight. We met a lot of students, and I found them to be some of the most inspiring. There was one medical student at a medical university, when her 19-year-old friend died on the front line. She said, that's when I realized the purpose of my education. I said, what do you mean? She said, I was created to save lives, she said. That's the conviction that comes when you face this. So she and others, imagine, with the bomb sirens, all of that going on, that's life there. They still come, they're going through their medical school, and they say, we want to serve, we want to become doctors because we want to serve and protect our soldiers and our homeland. There was one particular, a female resident. We visited a hospital. There's trauma all over, and the surgeons amongst us were trying to figure out where they can help. Mental health issues, all of that going on. And there was a female resident, and I noticed as we were watching that there was something different about her from her expression. So as we were rushing through, I said, you go ahead, we need to talk to this lady. So I asked her, why are you doing this? I mean, you're under attack, and your family is not here, but you're still here, coming here, serving, teaching, and helping out. What's keeping you? And then she said something that hopefully I will take away for the rest of my life, and I'll share that. Hopefully it will be of some guidance. She said she was witness to one incident that changed her life. There was a man, as the Russian troops were advancing, they were concerned about the women, of course, because they knew women are being targeted for mutilation, torture, rape, all of that. He had two of his daughters at his home, and he was standing outside away on the street to distract the troops. So they target him and leave his daughters alone. At that time, his house gets hit by a bomb, everybody's destroyed. The man goes nuts. He's hurt, he's on fire, 70% burned, and this lady witnesses and treats him. So what she said was, at that time, I went to the army recruitment firm and said, I'm signing up. So she is a resident, keep in mind, a doctor. She said, I'm signing up to be on the front line. The response was amazing. They refused her. They said, we will not accept you because, they said, medicine and medical treatment is your front line. She said, that changed my life. So the lesson, it was shattering and moving to me, brothers and sisters. I leave you with that because we are approaching the end of time. It forced me to assess, what is my front line? I want to leave you with that question. What is your front line? It is not the same for all of us. This is a classic example. Soldiers fighting on the battlefront, but he was told, that is not your front line. You go to where you're most effective. Allah has equipped you with the talent and capabilities and education of being a medical expert. That is your front line. Go act upon that. So each one of us, brothers and sisters, we have to make that assessment. What are the special talents, the capabilities, and the commitments that Allah has given so that we decide, what is my front line? And then we decide what are the wars that are calling us to be on the front line. Not all of us can go up there in Ukraine. There were some people who had volunteered from all over. But not all of us can do that. But the lesson I'm taking back and sharing with you is these people in Ukraine and the Muslims and others, they need our support. The Foreign Affairs Minister, she told us, listen to us. What we are fighting are beasts. The interfaith leaders told us that too. Our soldiers are warriors of light fighting these beasts of darkness because they come, they rape, they mutilate, they torture, they attack civilians, but we are fighting for that support us. So, brothers and sisters, I leave you with that question. Not just there. We see all the oppression, whether it is happening in Myanmar or in China or the atrocities in India, Turkey, Syria, elsewhere. In our own backyard, the polarization, the attacks happening on Muslims and on other minorities. What is the war that draws our attention? What is my front line? I need to assess that and act upon it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us truly be committed to His guidance on truth and justice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us truly appreciate the immense capabilities and talents that He has given to each one of us uniquely. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us understand what is our front line and give us the commitment to go and serve ourselves on that front line along the concepts of justice, truth and adl and qist, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Amma ba'd fa ya ma'ashara al-muslimin. Qala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala al-nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin bi'adadi man salla wa sa'am. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin bi'adadi man qa'ada wa sa'am. Allahumma salli ala